Hello, good morning everyone. I'm Shelly, Teacher Shelly again for today's lesson for our week 39th, day 1, October 20. Alright, so welcome to our Maritime English lesson for today's topic. It's going to be about stowaway. So, what's the reason why we do the drill? Why we do the practice of this? What is the purpose of this? What are the things you do while having a stowaway search drill? Alright, so we will discuss the security protocols, no? So this is an example of our security first emblem in maritime. This is the vessel at port, alright, overlaid with a security first emblem. And the very reason, or what the very important topic, one of the very important topic during our voyage is who or what is a stowaway. Alright, so aside from this stowaway search drill, we already discussed about the very first drill we had was firefighting drill, okay? And then followed with the man overboard drill. And then we had also an enclosed space drill. And then the fourth one was abandoned ship drill. And we also have, we also discussed about the oil spill drill. And last 37th week we had the oil spill drill. And for today, as mentioned, it's going to be about the stowaway drill or the stowaway search drill. Okay, question: who or what is a stowaway? Alright? So, a stowaway is someone who sneaks aboard a ship. Okay? Not just to a ship, but on a plane. To travel for free and without permission. So, sometimes they look like this inside void spaces on a ship. They hide like this. Alright? This person is the stowaway person. Okay? And sometimes, yes, when you say sneaks aboard, they hides on a ship. Okay? Of course, to travel secretly. Okay? And illegally. Alright? That's the meaning of without permission. It's mainly because they usually, okay, get to another country. Okay? This is a person who conceals themselves aboard the ship. Okay? Or sometimes, as I said, in a cargo hold. Okay? Without the consent, without permission. Okay? And later is discovered after the ship has departed. Okay? In simple words, okay, stow away is someone, okay, who sneaks aboard a ship to travel for free and without permission. Okay? So, this one is a stowaway person. Okay. As mentioned earlier, the very reason why we do the stowaway search drill is that there's also objectives on it in this. Okay. Our objective, our aim, our goal, of course, is to make sure that the crew familiarity with search procedures. Alright? That's our number one aim or goal or objectives or the purpose. Alright. Next, to test the communication. Okay? And reporting lines. Okay? And then, the third goal or aim is to assess. Okay? Assess the speed. How fast, how efficient, yes, and effective, okay, you do the security response. Okay? So, yes, you search, right? You communicate. Yes, communication using the radio, and the speed, how fast you do the security response, how effective. Okay, so while doing the stowaway drill or the stowaway search drill, there are risks. Yes, there are dangers, okay, in every drill. So, what are those risks that is associated with stowaways? Okay, number one, what are the major risks? The safety. Okay, yes, the safety of the crew. Alright, the threats, yes, to crew, okay, or the self-harm. Okay, this risk or the safety of the crew or the threats to the crew possess, yes, from the name itself, threats possess a danger to themselves, alright, and to the people or to the crew who work on the ship. Okay, so number one risk is the safety. Okay, why to themselves? Because one is they can hurt or die from the extreme heat or cold, or there's a lack of oxygen. Okay, there's running out of food and water, or accidents while hiding, self-harm. This is pertaining to the stowaway. Okay, the safety of the stowaway, or the person who hides under or any voids or spaces on a ship. Okay, they can die inside that space. Okay, they can hurt Alright? They can hurt themselves. That's why it's called self-harm. Because could you just imagine how it looks like if the stowaway person is hiding underneath or sometimes in a cargo holds, and there's no oxygen inside, okay, and they run out of water and food because they can't go inside because they are hiding. So from that hiding, okay, they can hurt themselves. That's why it's called self-harm. This is to the stowaway. Okay? And for the crew, to the crew, now, if the stowaway are desperate, okay, and they might hurt, okay, the crew, of course, to steal food, okay, to steal water, or if they're just trying to escape. So the safety of the crew and the safety also of the stowaway person. That's why that is the number one major risk. Okay? The safety. Alright? Next, the second one risk is the security. Yes, the security of the crew. Alright? Example of this is terrorism and smuggling. Okay? Now, here in security risk is that the stowaway, alright, isn't just seeking passage, alright, but is a threat also. That's why it belongs to terrorism, because this is also a threat to the global or the global movement of goods, okay, or also for the public safety. Okay, why terrorism? Okay, excuse me. Why terrorism? Okay, the stowaway person might be a terrorist, okay, trying to illegally enter a country to carry out an attack. Okay, it might be, all right, it might be a terrorist. Okay, and why smuggling? All right, why smuggling? In this situation, the stowaway could be involved, no? It could be, or they could be involved in illegal activities such as drugs, you know, weapons, or maybe other people. Okay, that's why that is the second major risks why we do stowaway drill search, because of the security of the crew and the entire vessel. Alright? So, the third risk. Okay. The legal. Let's talk about legal. It could be, you can be, or the vessel could have a fine penalty. Yes, for the delays. Alright? And also for the repatriation cost of the stowaway person. Alright? So, this financial, alright, and operational, the repatriation costs, the delays, could be a problem. Okay? That the ship's owner or the captain faces. Okay? So, that is why the third risk or major risk is the legal aspect. Alright? The captain could be penalized for that. The ship owners could be penalized for that. And once that happens, of course there could be delays. Okay, and of course, if it happens to be like, for example, the stowaway person on board from, like, for example, from Japan port, and it was discovered while sailing, all right? So, and your next port, for example, is going to Australia. So, you are going to have or to face problems from that for the repatriation of the stowaway person from Australia back to Japan. Alright? So, the captain or the ship's owner excuse me, could face fines or penalties or for legal fees. So, the stowaway is a big problem. Okay? So, next is the health, the quarantine, or maybe the disease transmitted. Okay? So, health is involved here. Alright? Health. So, why sometimes or most of the time or maybe, okay, the stowaway person has disease. Okay? Or maybe he might spread illness to the crew. Okay? Now, for the health, when we say disease transmission, like for example, he is, or from their area, they have this poor sanitation, and they might carry a contagious disease, like for example, tuberculosis or other infectious disease. Alright? So, he might or they might transmit, okay, that disease to the crew. Okay? So, you need to have it quarantined if they found to be sick. Okay? So, next, we have the major risks now. One is safety. Alright? One is the safety. Next is the security. Next is the legal aspect. And next is the health issues. Alright. So, yes, this is a simple 4 panels. Alright. Illustrating the risks. Okay. Like the safety, we have the security, we have the legal aspect, and the health risks. Alright. Now, when the drill must occur. Alright. So, when are we going to have a stowaway search drill? Okay. So, or when are we going to do the stowaway search? Okay. Now, how frequent we are going to do the drill and the timing of the search. Okay. It says here that it should be conducted quarterly. Okay, example, it could be the drill. We're talking about the drill here, not the actual. Okay, but for the actual, you always do that. So, the drill could be or should be conducted quarterly. Every, 3 months. Alright. So, every after or especially after you do the drill or you do the stowaway search drill, especially after a significant crew changes. Okay, after, like, there's on-signers and off-signers crew, or the port calls in high risk areas. Example, like for the high risk areas, countries that are not developed. Okay, so those are high risk areas. Okay, so when are we going to have a stowaway drill search? Every after significant crew change or for high risk areas. Alright. Our part 2, okay, of our topic about stowaway search drill, we have a regulatory framework. Alright. This is our part 2 topic. Who are those? Who are those who regulates the drill itself? Who are the regulatory bodies, okay, who implemented or who implemented this type of drill? It's the number 1, International Safety Management, or the ISM code. Of course, everyone know this, okay? International Safety Management Code. Alright. This ISM code is essential, important. This is essentially an important or an international rule book, okay, for running ships safely and preventing pollution. So, meaning running the ships safely, stowaway search is included. Okay. Now, in simple words, okay, this International Safety Management Code is an international standard adopted and enforced by IMO, International Maritime Organization. Alright? So, ISM is the regulatory body, and the IMO adopted that, and they enforced that the regulations. Okay? That is what IMO means. Okay? So, therefore, the ISM code is officially associated with the IMO's emblem. Alright? So, the role of the ISM code. Okay, what is the role of ISM code? One is it requires documentation, okay, and procedures for shipboard operations. Okay? The operations meaning for running the ships safely. Okay? Next. Yes, it includes safety. Okay? And security. Okay? Which must be tested through the drills. So, that is the reason why we do the drills, the all kinds of drills that we studied or we discussed from our previous lessons. Okay? Safety. It's not just the captain who says, alright, we'll do the drill, and then that's for our safety, but it's not the master. It's the ISM. It's in the ISM code. Okay? The safety of the running ships. Alright. Now, for number 2, the role of the ISM is, as I said, essential, important for running the ships safely and preventing pollution. And number 3 are right here for the money agents or for the ship owners. It forces the shipping companies to have a plan. Alright? Number 3 is crucial. It forces, the ISM code forces the shipping companies to have a plan. Okay? What do we mean by this, have a plan? Alright, here. You have, or the shipping companies have to create, alright, or to make a detailed system. Okay? When we say a system, it is called the Safety Management System or the SMS. Each company or shipping company has this SMS. They have different SMS or the Safety Management System to implement. Alright. Now, these SMS are the documents. Alright. So, on how they will operate the ship safely, of course, and how to handle emergencies, okay, and how they are going to protect the environment. That is included because it is a part of the ISM code. Okay, have a plan. The shipping companies have to have or create an SMS, Safety Management System. Okay? Next, make safety, yes, the top priority. Alright. Make safety the top priority. Alright. Here, you have to make sure that both the crew and the ship, alright, okay, and the ship, okay, have a clear responsibilities or duties, okay, and the communication lines between the crew and the ship and the ship owners always put safety first. Okay? Safety first. And then you check, the shipping companies are forced to check and improve. Okay? Meaning, when we say check, you audit, okay, the crew and the ship itself. You check, you audit the safety or the safety plan, or you check if the safety plan is strictly followed. Okay? And then if there's any problem, you improve. Okay? You fix the problem. And then everyone continuously try to get better for safe operations. Alright? So, the main goal here is, again, to prevent accidents at sea. Okay? By making the companies sure management, okay, just as responsible for the safety again of the crew, or for the safety as the crew on the ship. Okay, so that is a part of the ISM code. The company or the shipping companies are forced to have a plan, have an SMS, to make safety the top priority and to check and improve. Okay? So, The second regulatory body is the ISPS code. Okay? The International Ship Ports Facility Security Code. Alright. So, yes, ISPS. Okay. What is ISPS? Okay. This is again a global rule book like the ISM code. Okay? Again, for keeping ships and ports safe from the terrorists and illegal activity. Alright? The one mentioned earlier, the ISM, is also a global, also an international rule book, but for running the ships, safety, and the preventing the pollution. But for the ISPS, again, it is also a global rule book now for keeping ships and ports safety. Alright? That is the difference. Okay? Now, we have a set of mandatory rules, okay, for ISPS. What is it? 1. Security plans. Okay? When we say security plans, okay, for example, every ship and port facility, okay, must have a detailed written security plan. Okay? So this security plan explains, okay, how they will protect against threats. Okay? Because ISPS protects the ship and the ports from what again? Terrorists and illegal activity. So, you must have a rule to make sure, okay, a mandatory rule to make sure, okay, you will be protected against the security. You will be protected against the threats. Alright? Next, the security levels. Okay, now, when it comes to security levels, we will talk about it that first is the normal level. Alright? Second, there's a heightened level. And the third is the exceptional threat. Alright? For the ships and the ports must follow. Alright? So, when the threat level goes up, they have to put more security measures in place. Alright? You have to put more security measures in place. When? From the normal to heightened levels and if there's really an exceptional threat, you put more security measures. Okay? Now, for number 3, excuse me, for number 3, we have security officers. Excuse me. Okay? Now, when we say security officers, alright, when we say security officers, the key people or the important officers or the important people are assigned to a specific security jobs, alright, on the ship. So, these are the security ship or the ship security officers. Okay? And for the port side, for the port, they have this port facility security officer. In order for all these officers to have or to make sure the plans are really carried out, all right, are really what do you call this, are really implemented, or what they call this, it's really functional. Okay, so the ship's security officer on the ship's side, and for the port side, it's the port facility security officer. Alright? And lastly, the access control. Okay. Here, in access control, alright, it requires a strict rules. Okay, strict rules for controlling who gets on the ship, what cargo gets loaded, and where the people are allowed to go in the port area. Okay? So essentially, the maritime world version of like the counterpart in the airport security. Now here for ships and also the places they visit. Okay, so here in the access control, you have to have a strict rules. Okay, so that you can control who gets inside the ship, what are the cargoes loaded, and who are the people allowed to go inside the port area. So, those are the mandatory rules of the ISPS. Okay? And the third regulatory board, is the Port State Control Scrutiny. Okay? Meaning, scrutiny, the thorough examination, alright? Or the thorough checking of the port and the ship. Okay? Now, first, we mentioned ISM code. Next is the ISPS code for the ship and the port. And now we have Port State Control, the PSC. Yes, these are all familiar for everyone, the PSC. Okay. This PSC is a safety inspection. Alright? Of course, this is done by the port country. Like for example, we have the Australian PSC, alright, the port state control personnel. We have the in the US, we have in Europe, we have in Asia, for Japan, for Korea, alright. Those are the safety inspection done by each port country. Okay? Of course, to make sure that a foreign or a visiting foreign ship is safe, they are clean, the crew are well treated. So this one is the one responsible between the port, the ship, and the crew. Okay, no matter which country the ship is registered in its flag. Okay, and if ever the ship is found to be substandard and excuse me, and unsafe or a polluting their country, of course the port country can hold it, okay, until such time that the problems are fixed. Okay, now it acts, or the port state control acts as the final safety net, no, for the global shipping standards, right? So that is the port state control, how they inspect the ship, of course, the crew, if they are well treated, how clean the ship is. Okay, so once it's found substandard, well, they have the control on it until the ship or the problems are fixed. Okay, so this PSC acts as the final safety net for global shipping standards. Okay, and here, okay, all right, the PSC is when a country's government, all right, sends inspectors, all right, to look at a foreign ship visiting its port. This is very normal. Okay, you have to check everything for that visiting ship. All right, so this certain country or each visiting or each port country, of course, will send. Okay, wait a minute, we will check your ship if it is substandard or not, or if you're carrying something that is illegal. So the PSC inspects, of course, all right, and if they found something that is going to be a problem in their country, now they will tell everyone on board, or especially the master, that you have to fix that problem because it's not safe for the crew, for the ship, okay, itself. Okay, so yes, the PSC inspectors, yes, they review the records to ensure that the drills are conducted and the crew is competent in security procedures. Yes, this is very correct. Alright, that's the reason why they check each visiting ship. Alright, if they really conduct, okay, safety drills. Okay, now here, these are the example. This is the crew, all right, and these are the PSC, excuse me, this is the PSC, and they are trying to check the documents, the equipments, alright? And once they found something that is not functional, or if there's something with your documents, they will give their recommendation, and it's called deficiencies. And those deficiencies should be rectified. Okay? And failure can lead to detention. Alright? So, detention meaning you can't sail back. Okay? You can't go out of their country, port country. Alright. I'll just explain more about the PSC. Okay? The PSC. Now here, the overriding authority. Alright? Meaning, who is responsible? Of course, it's the master. Okay? The master usually comes up in a few specific contexts. Okay? Particularly in maritime law. Okay? The shipping. Or in certain legal governance structure. Okay? Now, in simple words, the master, the captain of the ship, okay, has the ultimate or has the final decision-making power in an emergency or sometimes in an exceptional circumstances. Even if it goes against the normal chain of command or standing orders, still the master is the overriding authority, the ultimate, or has the final decision power, making the decision making power. Now, here, alright, before I go to the fourth regulatory body, who is the master here? Okay, later, I'll just continue for the company policy. Alright. The company policy is the fourth regulatory body. They requires strict adherence to these drill procedures. Alright? And these reporting procedures are mandatory and non-negotiable. Alright? The company policy. And the fifth one is the legal implications for the master. Alright. As mentioned earlier, the master is the overriding authority. He is the ultimate. He is he makes the final decision. He has the power. Alright. Yes, the ultimate responsible for the safety and security of the ship, including proper handling and documentation of a stowaway incident. Okay? That's what master's overriding authority means. The master's job is to ensure the safety of the ship and the crew and the cargo. Like for example, in cases like a severe storm, alright, or there's a fire, there is a collision, or immediate, shall we say, danger. Okay? The master's authority or the master makes a necessary decision or even drastic decisions is absolute and overrides any instruction from the ship's owner. Yes, from a company manager or from the port authorities. Alright? If that instruction would compromise the safety of the ship. Alright? Did you understand how powerful the master's decision? Okay? Did you get it, everyone? As I said, once the safety of the ship is involved, okay, and the safety of the crew is involved, like for example, collision, there's a severe storm, there's a fire, or there's an immediate danger, even the drastic ones. Okay? The master's overriding authority is followed. Okay? Even if the ship's owner, or even if over the ship's owner, over the company manager, or the port authorities. Okay? If that instruction from those giving bodies would compromise the safety of the ship, it's only the master has the overriding authority. Okay? He is above all those giving bodies. Once the safety of the ship and the safety of the crew is at risk. Okay? Now, in simple words or in simple analogy, think of it that the master as the supreme boss on the ship, especially, alright, when danger is present. No one can legally countermand his order to save the ship or the lives of the crew. Okay? So, now, right. We'll have a question and answer. Okay. That's the end of our part 1 and part 2 topic about stowaway. Alright? For next week, we will continue with our stowaway drill. Alright? That is the part 3 and part 4. because this is quite a long topic, the stowaway search drill. Okay, our question for number 1. What is the core condition that defines a person as a stowaway? So, what is our basis? Alright. So, they must be discovered after the ship has departed. It's after, because if and when the ship is still on the port, the stowaway person cannot be considered as stowaway, because sometimes maybe they are one of the stevedores. Okay? So, the basis that you can be called a stowaway is that they must be discovered after the ship has departed. Alright? Next. So, can you name 2 of the 3 main objectives of conducting a stowaway drill? Alright, number 1 is to ensure the crew's familiarity with search procedures. Okay? And then, you have to test the communication and reporting lines, and then you assess how fast, how effective you are to respond to a security measures, okay? And then, what are the 4 major categories of risk associated with stowaways as listed in our presentation? So, what are those 4 major categories risks? Of course, as I said, it's safety, the security, the legal, and the health risks. Alright? Next. So, how often should stowaway drills be conducted? Alright. When else is a drill is specifically recommended. So, when are we going to have a stowaway search drills? So, when? Every quarterly. Alright, drills should be conducted regularly. Okay, regularly or quarterly. And that's only for the drill, But every time you leave the port country, you have to have a stowaway search drill. But to conduct that, it is recommended to have it quarterly. And after significant crew change. Of course, if there will be a sign on crew, you conduct stowaway drills, or of course for port calls in high risk areas, you conduct regularly stowaway drills. Alright. Next is stowaway procedures are required by which document? So stowaway procedures are required by which document? Yes, it's through our ship's security plan. Okay, ship security plan. And next, which specific international regulation requires that shipboard safety and security procedures be documented and tested through drills? Which specific international regulation? Alright, it's the ISM code. When you say safety and security of the running ships, right? It's between, the regulatory body is the ISM code. It's the International Safety Management Code. Alright? So, next, which specific security code connects stowaway procedures to the ship's security plan? So, which specific security code? It's the ISPS code, the International Ship and Port Facility Security Code. It's now going to be the ship and the port, country port, if there's stowaway procedures. Alright? Next. So, what potential consequence could a ship face, alright, from port state control if the stowaway drill records or the crew competency are deemed inadequate? Oh my! So what are the consequences? Alright? Could a ship face? Alright? If there is if the PSC can found that the crew competency are inadequate, oh yes, the vessel detention. You will not be allowed, the ship will not be allowed to sail. You will be detained. Okay? Alright. So, for number 9, okay, what does the company policy state regarding the adherence to the drill procedure? Alright, what is that? Alright, it will be strict adherence is required, of course. The reporting procedures are mandatory and non-negotiable. You are required, it is mandatory and non-negotiable. That is the company's policy state, alright, regarding the adherence to the drill procedure. Okay? Next. Alright. Who holds the ultimate? Again, the overriding responsibility. Alright. For the safety and security of the ship, including the proper handling of a stowaway incident. So, who holds that ultimate overriding responsibility? Of course, it's the master of the vessel. Alright? So, he has all the responsibility of the vessel's safety and for the crew whenever whatever situation is encountered. Alright? So, oh, thank you. Alright. So, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for our day today, and hope everyone have had learnings from me. Alright, so for next week, we will continue with our stowaway drill, our part 3 and 4, because this is quite a long topic. So let's just continue for Wednesday for our week 39th, day 2 of our stowaway search drill. Excuse me, drill. Alright, so for today, I hope I was able to discuss it in a very simple way that everyone could understand about the stowaway drill search. Alright, and I would like to say thank you for today's lesson, and I'll see you all on Wednesday for our part 3 and 4. So, bye for now, and just go over the videos, alright? So, I'm again your teacher for today, Teacher Shelly. So, bye everyone. I'll see you all on Wednesday. Okay, bye.